All right, welcome back to the Breaker Broz, and we're going to do the instant reaction to the Bengals 17-14 win over the Seahawks, which was kind of crazy because at the beginning I felt like the Bengals were going to run away with it, and
Yeah, I
you know,
thought the over was gonna hit, but it didn't.
no, it changed drastically. But I don't know. I got a sense like at the beginning, like because the defense gave up that touchdown early, so I was like, oh man, the defense. It did seem like it's going to be one of those shootout type games
Yeah.
where. But really, at the end, it was the defense that basically won it for us because it was pretty much
Yeah.
downhill ever since Burrow threw that interception. So,
Yeah.
what were your initial thoughts on it?
God, I wish we could run the ball. That's all
Yeah,
I can think about is why can't we run the ball?
I think
I mean,
part.
they just can't. It's so bad.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the running game that's really holding us back. It was just.
I mean, how could you say that? They almost lost that game. The defense needed to like step up to avoid a loss because they couldn't run out 2 minutes.
I don't know. I think part of it is everything was
I
going
actually
through the
I know
first
what
half.
part of it is. Part of it is that you're a wide receiver. So of course you don't want to run the ball.
Huh? I
You
don't think
played wide
that's the running game
receiver.
that's holding us back. I mean, if anything, it's like the run blocking. Like you can't like when it's very obvious that we have to run, we can't do anything. And it's just like you can only do so much if you're getting hit in the backfield or you're not getting any movement
Okay,
on the
but
line.
the Bengals are not the first team in the NFL to get the ball with 2 minutes left in the game, and all you have to do is get a first down running the ball to win,
Yeah,
right?
but they didn't run the ball. So how can you blame the runner when they threw it 3 times? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Because the coaching staff is smart enough to see that they also know that they can't run the ball.
No, it's because I disagree. I just think they have a different philosophy. I think they
Well, but it's
believe the
3.2
passing game
yards a
opens up the
carry.
run game. Huh?
3.2 yards a carry by Joe Mixon today. Like,
Okay,
what
but
was his long run? 4
there
yards?
wasn't enough rhythm for him to actually keep running because again, in our
Well,
offense, the run or the
they
pass sets up the run.
abandoned. No, the pass didn't set up anything. They just didn't run it.
That's not true. The first half, we had a nice balance between runs and passes, and they kept on moving the ball. Everything looked fine. Everything went downhill as soon
Mhm.
as we threw that interception. And then the only time I can think of where where the run game did let us down was when we had to get that 3rd and 1 and we didn't get it
Yeah, and that's the other thing I hated. Why are they punting like that on 4th and 1? You know?
because the defense won the game for us.
No, no, no. Help the defense win the game for you. You know?
Yeah, but you gotta check the temperature of the
No, no, no.
team.
I'm not even saying do anything. But why are you it's 4th and 1 at what? 48, 49, right?
Yeah, it's like on the
Why
40
don't
something, maybe
you
45.
45 it
It,
wasn't 45. It was like between 45, it was like 47, 48-yard line.
okay, it was on
Why
their
don't
side
you
of the
try to
field.
get why don't you just go up to the line? This is what I hate. It's not necessarily that you punt, but it's that you stand around and act like you don't know what you're doing, and then you jog off the field, and then you punt. What every team should do is when it's 4th and 1 at the 50-yard line, they should just know, run up to the line of scrimmage like you're going to sneak it and have the quarterback bark and try to get the other team to jump off sides
But
until
that's
the
what they did in the
time
first
runs
half,
out.
though. They've already
Yeah,
did
and it
that.
worked.
Yeah, but
It
you're not
doesn't
gonna.
matter. Do it again.
And if they don't, then you waste a timeout or you take
No,
a
just you
penalty.
just take the 5 yards and you kick it from the 45 and they get it at the 15 still. Like you lose no field, you know what I mean? You lose none of the field. Like kicking from the 43 versus the 48, it's probably easier to punt from the 43 than it is from the 48. You know?
Yeah.
They only kicked it to the 15 for a fair catch, right?
Well, I
I
guess
mean,
another thing that's just on top of my mind that kind of held the offensive back is that we gave up sacks at like the worst times. Like I know
yeah.
one for sure. Volson got blew up. Like he just had
Yeah.
like no
Well,
protection, and then
I
one,
almost threw a party when they said that Cody Ford was in. I was like, finally,
and
even
you thought it was gonna be
the
in guard.
announcers. No, no, even worse. The announcers on TV said that Cody Ford was coming in for Volson. I was like, finally.
Right.
And then they zoom out, and I'm
And
like,
it's
oh no, I
Brown.
see 67. And it was like, oh crap, you know?
Yeah, because Orlando Brown had like a groin injury, which makes sense because I think he tweaked it during practice either this week or the
Yeah,
previous week. Like I saw him on the injury report, so I guess maybe they're thinking give him
yeah.
rest now and have the bye, and
Well, he
then
probably heard it. I mean,
yeah.
you would never take him out on purpose in
I
that
guess
game
in the grand scheme of things, I mean,
unless you have
it
to
was
run in.
definitely an ugly game. Like it started out hot, and
Yeah,
then it
I
just
mean,
the bottom fell out. But it is good that you get one of those wins pretty much because of the defense played their minds out. I mean, they keep continuing to give up chunks of yards. I don't think they really gave up really that many big plays. Like, I mean, maybe that
they gave
pass.
up the big play right at the worst possible time, but they made up for it with the stop. But I mean,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
they
Like
let Seattle get within the red zone on one pass.
they either got a turnover. I feel like they got a pick in the red zone, and then they had like those
Yeah.
2 back-to-back sacks. Like they just
Mhm.
they seem to come up big when you need them the most.
Well,
But
it was like the Bengals and the Seahawks were like opposite teams. Like the Bengals could not run, and the Seahawks struggled like throwing the ball. Like you knew, like if you're the Bengals, you want Seattle to try to throw it because you know that Geno Smith can't win it, right? And I don't know. It's just and the Bengals, the Seahawks stopped the pass, but that's why I feel like you need a counter. You need to be able to run the ball. They need a. I don't know if it's just play calling. I don't know if it's the offensive line. I think it's a running back, but I mean, our guy Chase Brown got. I mean, they doubled his plays, right? He got two touches of the ball this game, right? One for 4 yards and one for 8 yards. I think they need more of that.
yeah, but I think the one that he got 8 yards on was a pass.
Yeah, he got 2 touches though. He's only been getting 1 touch a game.
Yeah. No, I mean they definitely need to mix it up a little bit more. And I know it seems like people are kind of want Perrine back, because
I would take that. I mean, Pirine is basically Joe Mixon with the ability to block.
but Joe Mixon's actually blocked him well this year. I
Not
just
as good as Pirine.
I know potentially there could be like an upgrade for Mixon in terms of like speed or those overall explosiveness, but Joe Mixon's not the problem. Like I just find it's weird.
Yeah, he is.
Nah, I 100% disagree with that. I think it has more to do with, like, for instance, one of the run plays, which I don't mind them being a little creative, and actually I saw them do it several times, and it might just be a key indicator of what's going to happen, but they've been motioning the tight end to come over, and as soon as he crosses basically to get in blocking position, they hike it, and they kind of use him as like the fullback. Like,
Yeah.
I wish they just stopped doing that shit and just literally put another running back there or the sample and just let him be the lead blocker from where they're hiking the
Yeah.
ball. Like I think it would work out so much better for him to follow someone rather than put everyone on the
I
line,
think
because
so.
like
I
we
think
don't
so
get that
because
push off the line we get like we used to in the past.
yeah,
Like
and like I do rip on Mixon a lot. And it's not that I think he's a bad NFL running back. I think he's a bad fit for the way that they like to play offense. Because I feel like Mixon doesn't have the top end speed, but he's still quick and he can make a couple people miss. He's just not going to outrun people. And if he had a fullback, I feel like that would be more to his game because he could play off the blockers and make a couple cuts and get 5 or 6 yards a carry. Or, I mean,
I just feel like we just
like,
suck at short yardage run situations. Like if the defense knows that we're going to run it, then we just get teed off on. Like it always seems to happen, and this has been going on since last year. Like we were just not a very good short yardage run team.
but who was our running back last? I'm just kidding.
No, I get that, but
I
the
think
point I'm trying to make is
it's
it's just
coaching.
the play. Yeah, it's just we're not, and I guess it makes more sense as to why we kind of play off the pass more and let that set up our run game versus like
Yeah, but
like 15
what
years
I'm
ago where
saying
like
is
the run game would set up the pass game.
But they're not setting up a run game. There is no run game. The run game is non-existent. They run it every once in a while just to change it up, but it's not productive.
I just like when I go back in the game through my head, like everything was working fine in the first half, except maybe like the last minute and a half where we like maybe situational play calling wasn't the best. It's just it seems like we either drop the ball or like when it does become predictable that we're gonna run, that's when we get teed off on. Like, because like again, everything seemed to be
Yeah,
fine.
but that's what I
But
mean though. It's
but
just like
but look at everything up to the point where we threw that interception, right? Like
yeah,
everything was working fine until we threw that
okay.
interception, and then things started to switch, and then like right after that, I think we had our first 3 and out, which again, like we keep doing like this weird stuff where
Well, they
well not
the
weird stuff. It's
offense
like we
the
had
offense
penalties
takes
called on
quarters
us.
and halves off on in like in the Zach Taylor offensive scheme. There's always like quarters and halves where like the offense is just like non-existent. You know, like it's not like you know you score every single possession. That's not the expectation, but you got to hold the ball a little bit, maybe get a first down. But they just go through stretches where they can't move the ball at all. And, I think a lot of that's run game. I think a lot of it's just cuteness, just a lack of, you know, just being able to beat people. You know what I mean? It's like constantly just trying to trick people.
Another thing I think too is like we tend to shoot ourselves in the foot either with certain penalties and stuff like that, and people maybe not coming up with the plays that they would normally, and then
Oh, speaking of people making plays, though, I feel like Tyler Boyd looked good. So maybe that's what changed. They stopped throwing him the ball because he looked good. He looked like he was
he's
feisty,
typically who
dangerous.
we look for on third down conversions. Like he's usually
Yeah.
him and
So I
Chase.
wonder, but I mean, he didn't get the ball at all after,
Yeah,
like,
it didn't
in the
seem like he
second
get the
half,
ball in the
right?
second half that much.
Like,
And
was he
then
even in?
I guess the way you
He
feel
get hurt or
about running
something?
back is like the way I feel about tight end, and it's just like
I feel the same way about tight end. I wish they would. That's what they're missing. They're missing like
the
the
Hurst.
well,
See,
sad
if
to
I had
say
an
they
option
are.
to trade back for any player that like left, whether it was like Hurst, or Bell or P Ryan, like for me, I would go for Hurst. Like if I had to pick one person to bring back, I feel like Hurst was like what we're kind of missing to keep the offense going.
I think it's what we're missing, but I don't think that he didn't play that much. Like he missed like a quarter of the season, and he
No, he only missed a
seems
few games.
okay.
He played
No,
the
I just
majority,
remember him missing a lot.
but he always seemed to come up big when they called his name. Like you wouldn't really notice him until he actually got the ball. But when he did get the ball, it just seemed like he made the most of the opportunity. And I'm not really seeing the same thing with Irv Smith. And then I was like, oh, it seemed like they were trying to get him involved early, but it's like late in the second half where they try to throw him the ball. It's like you just tell he just doesn't have that same connection with
Yeah.
Burrow.
Well, the thing is, like they were talking during the broadcast, like that Burrow doesn't. They asked Burrow if he like looked to get certain players and positions in the game, and he was like, "Oh, I don't pay attention to how many times I throw it to like tight ends or backs or whatever." And to me, that's a problem. Like you need to throw it. You need to move. You need to throw it around a little bit, right? You can't always throw it to the same person. You got to throw it to other people. You got to just to mix it up. You
I
know what
don't
I mean?
think that's what that means. I think what he's saying is that he lets the defense dictate where
Yeah,
the
that's the
best.
problem. Offense should dictate who gets the ball.
No,
Yeah,
no, that's never how that is.
that is always how it is.
No, because as a quarterback, you always have your first, second, and third reads, sometimes fourth
Exactly. That's
read.
what I'm talking about.
Right. And that's what
So
he's
sometimes
saying.
the tight end should be the first read. They should have tight end plays.
Okay, but that should tell you something. Like
What?
if the
What?
tight end is not getting like a focal point, then they just don't believe in their tight end like they do like a Jamar
Yeah,
Chase or
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's too predictable if you do the same thing every time. Every
yeah.
once in a while, you got to run a tight end focused play, knowing that yeah, Jamar Chase is better than any other receiver you have on your team, but you can't like throw to him every single play, right? Oh, did you see a 7-Eleven
Yeah, I did
necklace?
see his change. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. But like that's the problem. It's just like you need to mix it up, and part of mixing it up is like running plays for other players. And maybe that's what was working in the first half because when they put in Chase Brown, they ran that play for him, right? and they need a little bit more of that. Maybe you don't need something so drastic like having Chase kind of run like the pick play for him, but like you know just run a play where you're looking to get to the tight end first.
Yeah, and also I feel like this game would have been a
tight
lot
end
different
screen or
if
something,
like
right?
because and don't get me wrong, because I really do like T, and it just I feel like he's not making the plays that he's normally making, and I'm sure
Well, he's
a lot
hurt.
has to do with his rib or whatever. But like,
Yeah,
I did think that pass interference was like ticky tack that they called
it doesn't
against
matter.
him.
He didn't catch it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's a play that he normally catches though, and that's like another thing where if he catches that
No,
and we
I
continue
think
that
I think you have
drive,
to
and
give.
then that's
I
when we
think you have
close out
to.
the game earlier on.
I think you have to give credit to the defense from not catching that. I mean, that guy came back and punched the ball out basically.
He did, but those, I mean, that's why, to your point, when you design a play for a specific person, like that was a jump ball. So like he typically comes down with that, and he just
Yeah,
hasn't been doing the same thing this year as he's done in the past couple of years, where it's just like it almost felt like it was
yeah,
automatic where you throw it up and it's a jump ball
yeah,
situation. He comes down with it,
yeah.
and I feel like he'll probably get more of those throughout the as the year goes on.
He's gonna have to if he wants to get paid.
I
He's
think
got
he
to make
will
those.
because I think he's just that type of player. I just think there's a lot of weird things that started out this year, and of course he's hurt, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. But then,
Yeah,
you know,
credit to him
another
for
thing that
playing
pisses me
through the
off that has
injury.
nothing to do with the Bengals is it just
Oh,
doesn't
okay. I
seem
want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want you to be mad.
well. It's why don't they call the penalties like roughing the passer like they did on Geno Smith for the Bengals? Like all year, I've seen Burrow get hit. And like where the defensive player puts all of his body weight, like that penalty they called on Reader was complete bullshit. And then like they didn't call the penalty on Burrow when he got hit. Like he was clearly getting taken down and allowed another person to come down and hit him in his back. Like how's that not a penalty?
Well, there was one where he was outside the tackle box. And if you're outside the tackle box, you're considered a running back.
No, it wasn't outside of the tackle box because
Okay, then I'm thinking of a different one.
I
I'm
mean
thinking of the one
everything
where
was
Jamal Adams like absolutely crushed him.
yeah, that's the same play, but he was within the tackle box. Like he was in
No,
the
he was
pocket.
outside the tackle box. No, he was outside.
No, he didn't because he ran back in. Like he was
Yeah,
in the
then he was
pocket.
running away again. He ran.
No,
It's gonna be
because
hard to
the
say where
defensive
exactly he ran because he ran everywhere
but
behind the line of
if that's
scrimmage
any
possible.
other quarterback like Mahomes or like
Well,
Josh
wait.
Allen,
No.
I
You can't do
guarantee
any
you
other quarterback. Mahomes gets all the calls.
that's what I'm saying. Mahomes, like it's almost I almost feel like the conspiracy theorist in me is like the NFL is like allowing people to or allowing teams to kind of rough up Burrow a little bit because of the whole thing last year about like the ticket, like how we made a big stink of that about like get your refunds and stuff. Even though the NFL kind of screwed us over with that whole situation, like
Mhm.
it almost feels like a vendetta because like it's just weird how like how many penalties that they're letting slide, like the clear hands to the face or like him like literally getting obliterated, like and don't get me wrong, like the NFL has gotten softer when it comes to like hitting quarterbacks and all that, but they need to be consistent. That's the thing. Like you can't tell me that that's a penalty on Geno, but it's not on Burrow. Like that just it doesn't make sense to me. It's just completely like not consistent at all.
Yeah.
But I guess in
Mhm.
reality, like I said, the positive of this is that you kind of need these ugly games where the defense comes through and essentially wins the game for you.
Yeah. You need to be able to win different ways. So it's good to see the defense can win.
Well, it just
Um,
gives you confidence later in the year because had
but
we
I mean,
lost that game, then
has the offense won a game for us yet this year though? I mean, the offense has been kind of.
yeah, I would say when we beat Cardinals, yeah,
I guess
like,
Cardinals. Yeah, the
and
offense
even
played
the
good.
Rams.
That was like last week. I can't remember back that far.
I think that's the problem is that like I don't know, like the first game of the year when we played the Browns, the defense looked really good. I mean, obviously
Mhm.
it was a lopsided game just because like the offense literally did nothing, and
Mhm.
by the end of the game, the defense got tired. But before that, they were just like, to me, they looked real good. And ever since then, it was just like we just keep giving up big plays consistently. But then this game, I didn't feel like we gave up as many big plays. We definitely gave up a lot of chunks. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, I kind
But
of
the
expect that
turnovers
with the
again, it
young
just comes back to the
secondary.
turnovers,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, but that's what I think we were kinda talking about when
and
you lose
sacks.
both of your safeties, right? That you pick up athleticism, but you're gonna make mistakes, right? So I think you kinda see that where, like, the athleticism, like, I mean, like, that Cam Taylor-Britt interception, that was amazing,
Yeah.
right?
Well, he had a few
Mike
pass
Hilton's
breakups too.
interception was great, but
Yeah.
I mean, we can't call Mike Hilton a young player. But I'm just saying, like, you have the speed now to cover up for, mental mistakes. But I think over time, the mental mistakes can clear up, you know, and you see like the speed kind of making plays. Like Dax Hill broke up that pass
Yeah, he almost had an
with
interception
tight
too.
end,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
And
I
then
think that's what
Dax
we're
Hill
talking
and
about.
even Battle, like they seem to be really good at rushing the passer when they're
Yeah,
coming off the edge. I don't know if it's because they disguise really well, but they just
because they're really fast.
well that and they don't mind hitting people. Like you can just tell like
They
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 can
do
hit,
they
they can lay the
do,
wood.
like, you could tell, like, the type of player, uh, like, Lou likes to draft. He likes to draft dudes that tackle, dudes that hit, and dudes that run, right?
Yeah, like that the penalty they
Like,
called on
in the
Dax Hill, like
secondary.
I just like I felt like a good play, but like I could see why they called the penalty. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if you
they're gonna
saw
call that.
the did you see the Baltimore game this morning?
No, I didn't see that.
Well,
Or is it
I was
on
kind of
field
worried
and,
because,
comparison?
well, if you happen to see the highlight, Hamilton got thrown out of the game, but he
Really?
literally like led with the crown of his helmet and hit the
Yeah,
dude in the side of his face mask
yeah.
and knocked that guy out. Well, he
He
didn't
knocked
like.
him out.
Well, he didn't like knock him out. Like you could like when he got up, he was all like, but
Oh, it was
he knocked
wobbly.
him out of the game. Like you come up
Yeah,
all wobbly, you're not going back in because of concussion. And they actually
yeah,
they ejected Hamilton, and I was like, oh crap! I hope they
yeah.
don't do that to Dax Hill, but I just think it was one of those plays where like it's really hard to control where you're like because
Yeah,
he put his shoulder into it, but he
I
also
don't think he
his
was
head
trying to
hit
hit
his
him. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna call that, and they didn't call it like, I mean, they have a targeting penalty in the NFL too, right?
yeah
Okay, yeah. So he got a call for unnecessary roughness. So I think like the fact that they called him for unnecessary roughness was kind of like, you know, like I guess a way of calling it like an incidental uh, targeting. Because I mean he did hit, I mean he hit him hard in the head. He hit him harder first in kind of like the shoulder. Well, he hit him harder with his shoulders, but he hit him so
yeah
hard. He also got hit hard in the head with the helmet.
yeah
Um, dude caught that ball too.
yeah.
Tough.
I'm sure too.
Shout out,
Like
man. That was tough.
I felt like the hit when he like fell back to the ground probably hurt even more than the actual initial contact.
Yeah. I mean, really, that's on Geno Smith, man. You can't lay out your dude like that.
But I mean that's why people are getting their legs taken out from them is that defensive players like to make sure that they don't get the penalty called is that they're going to start going for like their lower legs and like
No, Nick Chubb got his legs taken out because they were trying to
I'm
take
not
out his
talking about
legs.
that play specifically, but
Oh,
just in
okay.
general, like that's why people are going
Yeah.
lower. Because like
Yeah.
I'm saying, like that's a completely different play. I'm talking about those bang bang plays because like
Yeah, yeah.
Chubb
No,
got
I know.
hit. It
Yeah.
was the second hit that took him out, not the initial
Right,
contact.
right. Yeah, because he was stood up and then
It's not the
dude
same play.
targeted
It's
him.
like when
Yeah.
when the person's catching the ball and the defender's hitting the person at the same time. Like when it's all coming at the same point, they tend to go in
Yeah.
lower because they're trying to avoid that penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say you want to hit him in the ribs, but I mean, I don't know, man. I've never hit somebody like that, so I can't really say.
It's hard
I
too
mean, it's
because like
tough.
at the like hit like the receiver too is also going to kind of like prepare for contact, and as they do that, they bring their body down a little bit too. So it's like you can go
Yeah.
down and you're like you have initial like point that you want to
Right,
hit
because
because the
everything's
person go
moving.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just because like him like you could just tell like it was just I
You know,
mean
I mean, really, they should just find quarterbacks for that too. Like the quarterback should have to pay 10 grand if you like
they're not going to do that to
hit that
quarterbacks.
that hit that Bobo took, man. They should find Geno Smith like 5K, man.
I'm
Just be
surprised they
like,
took him
dude,
out of the game. I didn't see at any point where he looked like concussed or anything. He seemed to he
he
got
looked
up.
like he was bleeding. He looked like he was bleeding.
Oh,
Like
okay,
like
that makes
he I
sense.
don't know if he like bit his tongue or bit his lip, but I thought I saw blood in his mouth.
Okay, yeah, it was weird because like normally they will only take you out if you show signs and like if you're like slow to get up or if you're like wobbly or whatever. But he got up, seemed like right away. And then even on the sidelines when they took him out, he was all like excited. It
Yeah,
wasn't
but
like,
I don't remember if they put him back in though.
where's he from? How do you have a name like Bobo? I was thinking, I was like,
They said UCLA.
UCLA. What is that though?
Yeah.
Is that like?
I think it's his last name.
Well, I know it's his last name, but is it like where's he
I
from?
think it's
What
Spanish for
nationality?
ugly, right?
All Spanish. Is that a Spanish word?
I thought I thought Bobo was Spanish for ugly,
Are you
or
being
maybe it's
serious about
Spanish
that?
for stupid. I can't remember.
Uh,
I'm going to try to Google Translate Spanish to English. Watch, it's going to be like some really terrible, stupid. Yeah.
it is stupid. Okay.
Bobo is Spanish
Wow.
for stupid. Yeah.
Damn. Well, hopefully he's not Spanish because that would. Why? Like, how do you get a last name
I
name?
don't know. I think his dad invented the Nova. His dad was in the marketing for GM in the 70s. Like, no, let's call it Nova, which
Let's
is
see if
Spanish
the.
for
Do you know if
it
the?
doesn't drive.
You know if the Browns lost? It's weird how quickly this game went compared to the Browns game.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Ravens won, Steelers was on a bye. Just want to see if they lost.
I'm looking up Jake Bobo so we can
Oh
figure
no,
out
the
where
Browns
he's
are
from.
winning. Wow, that's crazy.
Okay. So Jake Bobo, or no, Jackson, aka Jake, he was from Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Oh, it says he played at Duke. Oh, then he transferred to UCLA. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I was like, what? How do you get a name like that?
You I guess you grow up in Concord, Massachusetts.
Well, I guess more like what was his background or nationality or whatever, but
Wikipedia doesn't say.
I guess it's a cool name. I'm not. Maybe not
I
cool.
think
It's
awesome.
unique.
I think it's awesome.
You like that name, Bobo?
Yeah. I mean, other than what it means in Spanish. I think you get a lot of laughs in Spanish class when they teach you that word. I was like, wait, Jake.
He had to be the class clown.
Probably what made him so tough.
Oh, and then I guess before I forget, Burrow seems to be back to his old self in terms of running because like he had that crazy scramble. I think that was the play before we ended the half. Because he did get out of like a weird situation and it did like that back and forth and got a completion, but it was on third down and we only got like 5 yards, so they had a punt. Pretty sure that was like right before the end of the half.
Oh, it's okay. So I just I guess Microsoft Bing now has like some AI chat GPT AI thing. So the surname Bobo has multiple origins. Okay. According to the Dictionary of American Family Names, is an Americanized form of French Bobo or Bobo, which is
It's a
derived from
French.
Old French "bobe," which meaning stutterer or stammerer, from the Latin bulbus, meaning stammering. Is also an Americanized form of French Bourbeau. In Spanish, it is a nickname from Bobo, meaning fool. Well, there you go. So maybe stutterers from a few hundred years ago are in his lineage.
I mean, it makes sense because it's
Because it used to be like
It's like you're
your last name
stuttering.
was your job, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like if you came from Europe, like your last name, like you were just like,
Like
Joe the
blacksmith, right?
plumber. Yeah, yeah, like blacksmith or Danny Drinkwater or
Hmm.
Baker or Miller, right?
Yeah.
So,
What's Foster?
oh my gosh. That's okay. Hold on. National.
Because Foster is not German.
I don't know.
Even
Okay,
though,
same
like,
source. Wait. The ChatGPT is broken.
gosh.
It's no, it's coming. And okay. Because it repeated all the Bobo stuff, but now it's starting over with so Middle English word foster meaning